Hello everybody. Today we have got a really special deck. If you look at the card itself, you will see a signature of Budde, which means that this deck is from the famous World Championships decks, and they do come in gold borders. This particular deck is from August 1999 from Tokyo. And if you don't know what these decks were, essentially from 1998, if I'm not mistaken, or 99 to 2004, Wizards were printing top 4 decks of the tournament. So this particular tournament was the Type 2 tournament. As you can see, we've got the Tempest block and the Urza's block. And what's absolutely beautiful about these decks is that they were complete products. You could just organize some play, you could recreate some very interesting moments, because these decks are obviously very well matched against each other. They do create their own, so to say, meta game, and it's a shame that Wizards stopped printing this product. And this has recently come to the attention of players. Some players started to get these cards as a cheaper alternative, as a proxy. For example, Gas Cradle, as you understand, it's much more easy to get this one, but still very expensive nowadays, so they recently have been on the rise. And I was lucky enough to get 3 decks like that. I got the Red and Black Reanimated deck from 2003, I think. This deck from 99, and I've got one for 2004 by Gabriel Nassif, I think, or 2003. So anyway, these decks are absolutely amazing. This particular deck we're going to talk about now is Premodern legal. In order to do that, I had to remove 4 Grim Monoliths. Originally this deck came with the sideboard, but unfortunately I lost it. I cannot find it, so I had to, well, not really modify it, but just throw in a couple of cards that I had instead. So, to talk about the deck itself, it's perfect. It's very well fine-tuned. It was made by the German juggernaut himself, as people called him in the United States. Really powerful player from Hamburg, and not only a great deck builder, but also a... But by the way, yeah, there are some intricacies. I don't remember that whether he himself constructed this deck or not. Yeah, because there have been some stories. Anyway, does not matter. The most important deck is that this deck is known as the Budde deck, and he was the one who piloted into the finals, and maybe even took the first place. I don't remember exactly, unfortunately. I think this was the case. Anyway, if we continue talking about the deck itself, if we actually start finally talking about the list itself, we will see that it is a red and artifact deck. It has some very interesting synergy. It has a lot of mana acceleration, and then we will put some powerful threats. There are some very powerful reset cards, so that's what we should discuss. And remember that by modern standards it might not look very powerful, because, you know, if we talk about the 3 components that are threats, answers, and utility cards, or enablers, whatever you wish to call them, we can say that Premodern, just like Old School, has very powerful enablers. It might also have powerful answers, even though, let's say, in Premodern maybe they're not as good as in Old School anymore. Not necessarily, and not always. And as for threats, yeah, they're typically on the weak side by modern standards. So, as for mountains, we do have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 2 extra mountains I threw in. These beautiful 7th edition foils. So just instead of 2 Grim Monoliths. We have got Ancient Tombs. Ancient Tombs can be quite painful, as you understand. That's why there are only 3 of them pre-sideboard. City of Traitors is an absolutely amazing card. You know, it's very interesting to see how Wizards try to experiment with these cards to try and see what would be fair, you know, what kind of disadvantage, what kind of drawback they should add to make a card fair. But as you know, all of these things usually failed, because both of these cards are incredibly powerful by modern standards, and they would never print anything like that again, even if it gives you 2 colorless mana. And there are some interesting shenanigans with City of Traitors in mono red deck, in Legacy maybe, if you've seen that, or even in Modern. Not in Modern, I'm sorry, of course, cannot be in Modern. In Legacy, there is such a thing that you get a lot of mana, then turn it into Blood Moon, so it doesn't need to be sacrificed anymore. Here we can sacrifice to Wildfire, for instance. But anyway, so of course it's fine-tuned, it's very well done. Voltaic Key, I don't need to tell you how broken this card is. This is the reason why, I'm not really sure that this is the reason why I need to look back at the timeline, but definitely Time Vault with Voltaic Key equals win, and there have been some errata to that card, and this would be perhaps the easiest way to untap Time Vault, but it can also untap so many different things. Voltaic Key is absolutely amazing. If you know the story of this card, it's really amazing. The art itself, this is one of the very, very rare cards. I believe there was maybe one more, which is perhaps even this Worn Power Stone, if I'm not mistaken. So these cards, yeah, both of these cards by the same artist, as you can also see, were not actually paintings and not even 3D models. What they were is that they were actually some mechanisms that were created, and later, of course, their images were modified and given a particular color tone and such. But these were the sculptures, actually. If you didn't know that, it's a really fascinating fact, I think. Shame that we don't see this anymore, even though they are quite wacky, to say the least, secret layers and such. Anyway, this is not relevant right now. So, of course, Voltaic Key can be used at least to untap the necessary, let's say, card that gives you some mana, such as Thran Dynamo. You understand that. And untap some other powerful artifacts, of course. Maybe even such as a Cursed Scroll. Cursed Scroll was a card that was so feared for a very long time. People knew how good it was. We understand that 2 toughness is, you know, a lot of cards have 2 toughness. A lot of cards could be killed by this one. And it's very interesting how it works. Yes, your opponent should guess the card, and of course if it's the only card in your hand, then there is just nothing that can be done. You can also have mountains, you can also have maybe 2 cards with the same name in your hand, and your opponent will always guess them. Or sometimes it's just nice for a gamble. It's very nice mana sink. We do have a lot of mana here. Or you can simply use it to ping your opponent for a long time. A really nice card. Today doesn't feel so powerful, but was really feared for a long time, and I still love it. The unique mechanics as well. Fire Diamond comes into play tapped, 2 mana, add 1 to a mana pool. I don't know, it's a nice one. It's not really amazing, it's nothing special. We do need red mana here, so they felt like including some particular colored mana. And don't forget that we can untap it with Voltaic Key if we need it. So yeah, picking of the sleeves, I wanted to get this KMC gold sleeves for the gold bordered card, you understand. So Temporal Aperture, I don't know, I have always felt a little bit weird about this card. I do understand its effects. Recently I have warmed up to this card a little bit more, and I do understand that it gives you basically an extra card in your hand, or maybe even more if you have 10 mana, I don't know. But the thing is that with this particular card, sometimes you can get something that is not very relevant, and it doesn't really remove the top card. You shuffle, reveal it, I don't know, play something random. The majority of the cards that are here, we actually would need them. I don't know, even if it serves to thin out your library by bringing more lands into play. I don't know, I feel that maybe 4 is a little bit too much, but who am I to talk about that, because Budde definitely knew better. One's Power Stone, I really like it a lot. 2 colorless mana. I feel that we could use an artifact like that in some other sets. Thran Dynamo is really powerful, 3 colorless mana. It's only an uncommon. This is just amazing, isn't it? So a lot of fast mana, a lot of mana acceleration and such, ramps. Mishra's Helix is such a beautiful card. So not only can you destroy your opponent's lands with Wildfire, and you will definitely do that quite early, also killing the mana dorks, but you will also essentially log them. So as soon as you cast it, you have enough mana, it's game over for your opponent. You will definitely have more mana. You will definitely tap their lands in the upkeep, and unless they actually get some disenchant or so, it will be definitely game over for your opponent. Really powerful. Sonic Burst, don't mind them. These are just some nostalgic cards that I had, and well, they're definitely not perfect, but maybe if we have one extra card, why not 4 damage to remove an annoying creature, or just to finish your opponent off? I don't know, it's fine. Wildfire is the card I like the most here. It resets everything. You will definitely be slower than your opponent, because we really have nothing to do on the first turns. We have got some mana acceleration. Even if we do have the Cursed Scroll, we will not have enough mana to activate it early, so we can get to Wildfire as soon as we can. Even with holding some mana, so you understand we have got a lot of artifact mana, so I don't know, we can even have, let's say, 2 lands, right? That would typically be enough. Let's say a mountain, and then maybe a City of Traitors, 5 diamonds, and some artifact mana, I don't know. And knowing that you have the Wildfire will prevent you from committing to the board too much in terms of how many lands you have put. And then it's just boom, you destroy everything. This is amazing. And we do have some creatures with 4 toughness as well. However, the dragon will not be affected by it, so that is beautiful. And what I like most about it is that it also deals 4 damage to flying creatures, which is not very common in red. It's such a powerful card, and 6 doesn't seem like too much for such a great effect. Next one is Masticore. Now, Masticore is a card that again was really well loved, feared by many. The upkeep cost is not nothing. I mean, it really does add up. You really do feel that it's not nothing, but we do have Temporal Aperture. We can keep discarding the cards we don't need. Maybe get, you know, 1 extra card if you have got plenty of mana. I don't know, there are many ways you can go about it, but 4/4 for 4 mana, already very good. Regeneration, amazing, and pinging creatures, especially taking into consideration how many and acceleration artifacts we have got. It's just priceless, very nice. The dragon is very cheap by those standards, just 4 mana and 1 red, so 4 generic is already very good. 6/5 flying, when you control no artifacts, sacrifice him. Rarely do we not control any artifacts. We'll always control some artifacts with this deck, unless our opponent plays Shatterstorm or something. You know, 6/5, I don't know, were there any good creatures in that block that could actually deal with this creature? I guess there is Morphling, for example, but that's probably about it. There were some, of course, angels and such, but cannot remember any really powerful and let us say tournament-worthy creatures. So it's definitely incredibly powerful, and having a playset is definitely very important. So the dragon is just so nice. Look, he is hoarding all this treasure, and cannot live without it, certainly not. Karn Silver Golem is the last card. It is a legend. I believe this is the reason why they decided to bring in only 1 copy. And the first ability is really strange, but the truth is that 0/8 blocker can be relevant actually sometimes. It can block, let's say, Verdant Force, something like that, and still survive. And he's not made for fighting, you know, other creatures. He's made for fighting your opponent, maybe, and animating all of those amazing artifacts. Just look at how many we have got. And we have got, for example, Thorn Dynamo, Helix. What else can we animate? Yeah, these are the main, of course, things. So for 4 mana, for 5 mana, we've got the Helix, the Power Stone. So yeah, and the swinging with all of these is just so powerful. Don't forget that we can also, it's not only for your artifact, so you can animate your opponent's artifact that brings you some trouble. Kill it with Cursed Scroll, for example, or Sonic Burst in my case, or ping it with Masticore, right? So it's really a powerful deck. It's really a lot of fun to play. It's one of those decks that, I don't know, it's so well put together that sometimes you feel that it's a little bit predictable to play it. That's what I would say. However, you usually understand your chances. You will either win or lose. A long stalemate will typically result in you winning, sometimes, of course, you will be too slow. But other than that, I wanted to say that this is a great deck. Thank you for watching. I really wish that we had more gold board decks to talk about, but currently that is it, what I have got for Premodern. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching again. Bye.